Yo, 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 yo. It's another episode with your boy. I am C. Maurice Ball, the host of Open for Discussion. And I am truly, truly excited about this young lady who is on here today. She is full of wisdom and knowledge and revelation, and she's out here helping women find their personal journey of finding themselves because she did it, and she has some things that she has to say, and we just gonna chop it up and we just gonna talk. Hit that like and subscribe button that's going to be coming down here, scrolling at the bottom. And without further ado, let's kick that intro. Well. I am introducing to some and presenting to others this amazing young lady right here, Miss Bre Mitriece, is in the building. How are you
Hey
today?
guys, I'm doing well, doing well. How are you?
I am awesome. I am super excited about this. Like, I know we have been playing tag, um, and we finally got on the same page. And I am really excited because I think that just hearing your story and reading through your story and just being in some spaces with you that I think there are some people that want to know how you landed where you landed. But quick backstory, real quick about how we met. So we have a mutual friend, Paul, who was a guest on the show not too long ago, and we were both in his live, and then we kind of are his mainstay panel guest at that time, and then we made a connection. Then I just jump in her live when she has some live. She'd pop up in my live and say hi. So TikTok kind of created a family and a bond, and so I asked her, I was like, hey, you touching some lives and you doing some stuff. How about pulling up on my podcast? And she was like, yeah, let's do that thing. And she didn't say it like that. I don't want y'all to think. She didn't say it like that. But so here we are, and I am really excited. So what's going on? Well, first of all, where are you at? I automatically assume everybody's on East Coast time. Just because I live in not in the East Coast, but I'm on East Coast time, so I automatically assume that everybody's East Coast. Where you at?
So I'm in Vegas. I'm in Las Vegas, so we're on Pacific time over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or do you live in Vegas?
Yes, about 7 years now. Seven
Okay.
years now.
How do you like living in Vegas?
It's definitely different. So I grew up in North Carolina, so I'm from the South, and so the culture, the vibe is just different. That's the one word I can describe it. I mean, I do enjoy living out here. I don't see myself moving back to North Carolina. I just like the people here. It's easy to meet people. It's easy to make money out here, things like that, to connect with people. And then it's just always something to do. So you can never be bored out here in Vegas because there's always something to do.
Do you hang out on the strip, or is the strip like that thing that because it's common and normal that you just be like, there's a way more cooler places to hang out than the strip?
Yeah, so normally we don't go to the strip unless we're going to like one of our favorite happy hour places. But we usually go to the strip when you have your family come in because they want you to play taxi and take them around. So you
Right.
got to go to the strip. You got to do those things. But normally, no, we're doing other things outside of the strip, skating, bowling, going to there's this wonderful place out here called Lake Las Vegas. Most people don't know about where you can take a boat ride through the lake, and it gives that vibe of like you in a artesian place. It's so beautiful out there. So it's a lot of other things to do out here besides just being on the strip. But I go to the
Oh,
strip every now and again.
every now and then. So my wife and I, one of our favorite places to go is Vegas. Vegas is fun, and we could people watch. Like I like watching people, and people be wilding out there. So it's a,
They
it is
definitely
fun for me. What part of North Carolina?
Raleigh from Raleigh.
Raleigh, Durham. Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. So we lived in North Carolina. We lived in Charlotte. Before I got married, I lived in Fayetteville,
Okay.
and I my Navy Reserve was at up in Raleigh.
Okay.
So at NC State.
Oh,
So
nice. Yeah.
I'm there. I used to go to what was it, Crabtree Mall up there.
Oh, yeah.
That was my spot, hanging out at Crabtree, and then they had a Bahama Breeze up there.
Yep.
Yeah, so that used to be the spot, and now you're in Vegas and doing big things out there. So, what is one of the like? What was your story growing up? Are you the oldest? Are you the youngest? Are you the middle child?
So growing up, I am the middle child. I have an older brother and I have a younger brother. So I'm the only girl. And growing up, I would say I had a typical childhood. Although my mom and dad, they didn't marry, they were cordial enough to be able to have a solid relationship so that we didn't have to grow up in dysfunction. So I'm originally actually born in Gary, Indiana. So I was born in Gary, Indiana. And then my mom, she was like, we got to get up out of there. I got to get y'all out of here. So then she moved us to North Carolina when I was about 8, which I feel was one of the best decisions she could have ever made because every time I go back to Gary, it's like a cloud of depression hanging over a city. And so growing up in North Carolina, it was just always so much progression. You know, you always seeing things constantly moving forward. And so growing up being the only girl, it was good. I had my own room. I didn't have to share with my brothers. And it felt good. I mean, it would be times I remember being younger and we went shopping or something, and somehow my brother and my oldest brother was getting something, but I wasn't getting nothing. And I made up this song like, Britt got something, Brandy got something. I'm the middle child. I didn't get nothing. And I kept singing. I kept singing that through the shopping trip. And my mom finally had to be like, Brianna, hush up, be quiet. But that's how I felt at the time. Like, what is going? I'm the middle child. What is going on? But outside of that, I had a very good childhood. Me and my mom to this day still have a very close relationship. She was a very loving mother, and I'm so grateful for that.
Do you have a relationship? Are you good with your brothers? Are y'all tight?
Yeah, me and my
Okay.
oldest brother, we're about a year and a half apart. So he's like this. We did everything. Like I tried to emulate everything like he did. He was like, you know, when they say, remember that movie Friday where they say Debo had mind control? Like my brother kind of had
Right.
mind control over me growing up. And then my youngest brother is about 5 years younger than me. So he's the baby. So growing up, like he was my little baby. So I'll let him sleep in the bed with me, like hang, so we all still have a pretty close relationship. My youngest brother is out here with us in Vegas, and my older brother is still in North Carolina.
Okay. Guess what city I'm in?
What's you in?
Indiana.
Oh wow, Indianapolis.
No, actually, I'm further south.
Okay.
So I'm further south, but grew up in Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
Had a whole bunch of friends from Gary. Used to
Yeah.
go to Gary and hang out.
Mm.
Yeah.
That we got the.
Ge- Hey, Gary was fun. Um, I met a lot of cool people out of Gary. So it's like that's crazy. Like you was born and raised in Gary. And
Yeah.
do people always ask you, did you go to 2300 Jackson Street?
Yes, they always. Yeah, that's one thing they always mention, and I'm like, I didn't know, Michael. I didn't know. Maybe some of my people, maybe in the past they might know, but no, I've been to the house. It's small, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. You from Gary,
Hmm.
lived in Raleigh,
Yeah.
now you in Vegas. Was you
Yes.
hanging out for the Super Bowl?
Yes, I actually I work in the nightclub out here as well, so I had to work and it was crazy.
Crazy.
It was, I think it was, New Year's Eve in Vegas is always a busy time. And I think we did some of those numbers. It felt like a New Year's Eve weekend. It was a lot of people. I actually ended up getting sick afterwards. I don't know if it was just the amount of people that came. It was just a lot. But it was a fun weekend, but definitely a lot of people. And people was on one. I don't know what they was on another level that weekend. They really were. But it was a good time. It was definitely a good time out here. I think they should think about bringing the Super Bowl back to Vegas in the future.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, it looked like it was a good time. It looked like it had a like my homeboy was out there and he looked like he had a great time. Um, so you had a normal childhood growing up, and what was high school like?
High school was good. I My mom ended up getting us a house built in 2002. So I ended up going to a new high school my freshman year, and I made friends rather quickly. And so it was just like a typical high school. It was fun. We went to little team parties, doing a little dating.
Just a little dating.
Yeah, little dating. Just, that's when I really come to realize, like, loving how I look. Like, I fell in love kind of like with my own beauty in high school. I stopped following like trends. Like, I started developing like my own style and things like that. And so it was a really good experience in high school. I had a good time.
Do you think that like any of your high school experiences when it came to being in relationships and dating had an effect on you as you transition into college or adulthood? Do you think any of that stuff had an effect on you or how you view relationships?
I think before, when I was in high school, I think it was so much easier to like navigate being heartbroken. Like, when I was younger, you date a couple of people, but I don't remember being so distraught about anything ending. Like, having a moment, feeling it, and it is what it was. It
Hmm.
seemed like the older I got, and then my first serious relationship, which was my ex-husband, it's like then I started allowing the stuff I learned from society to taint what I thought a relationship should be. So when dating in high school was more like, it wasn't that serious. You get like, it was, you liked them, we kicked it, but if it worked out, cool. If it didn't. But when I got serious at 17, it's like I put so much of myself in there based upon what I thought from like movies and society that a girl is supposed to do. And so that relationship changed the way I saw relationships going. Yeah. So,
So you had your first serious relationship at 17, like really serious relationship at 17?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And um, do you think in that were you emotionally prepared to handle the the responsibilities that came along with that with being in a relationship?
No, no.
Okay.
Because I didn't have the emotional maturity. Okay, we like somebody, like you say, you just kind of following a script, right? You don't,
Hmm.
nobody ever teaches you what it's really like to be emotionally mature, have the emotional intelligence to be able to learn to recognize your own feelings and then also consider how somebody else feel and take that into consideration and being able to navigate that. And so no. We was just following the script, and we liked each other, we loved each other, and so we was just doing what we thought was normal, what you do. Yeah.
And how long did that relationship last?
So my first serious relationship is actually my ex-husband, so my high school sweetheart. Yeah. so
Wow.
so that relationship lasted about 7 years, married for 3 years.
Okay. 7 years. So y'all got married when you You got married early and young.
Yeah.
Now, becoming a wife at such a young age, and you just said your parents wasn't married. So, did you have a model of what a wife, like close quarters, something that you could base what a wife should be off on? Did you have an example?
So so my mom did get married again when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
And even though she was married, I didn't see her in, I guess, what society would consider a wife role, right? My mom's ex-husband, while he was a cool person, I don't think he stepped up to the plate as he needed to be able to alleviate some stress off my mom. And
Hmm.
so I didn't, as even though she was a wife, I didn't see a healthy model, if that makes sense. It
Yeah.
wasn't dysfunctional, but it wasn't healthy in the sense where I can glean from that. So
Hmm.
no, no, I didn't. Yeah.
Okay. So, were you, out of your friends, were you the first one to get married?
Yeah, I was the first one. First one to have a child. The first one. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Now, in that, so you were married 3 years,
Yes.
and in that marriage, what was some of the things that you noticed but you didn't address?
Hmm. Within myself.
Yeah.
Hmm. So at the time, I didn't notice anything. When I was in it, I didn't notice anything. But now that I can look back at it, I noticed that I didn't know how to really be loving. In a sense, I was just doing what I thought was normalized. I will be irrational sometime, attitude, hold on to stuff, damaging stuff, just doing foolish stuff because I took all my cues from society that this is normal, how we supposed to behave. We can fuss and we can cuss each other out. I can hurt you. And sometimes I would also be physical with him. Like if I'm upset, I would get physical with him. And so I didn't notice that stuff then. I was in it, so it was normal. This is how we carried on. But once I got out of it and really did some healing, I can look back and say, I didn't have no business being in a relationship, let alone married at such a young age, because I didn't even know who I was. And I didn't even, neither one of us had the tools to be able to be what we needed for ourselves and to be what we needed to be there for each other. And by the time, we divorced, neither one of us thought to seek outside help. Let's see if somebody else can give us the tools that we need. We just kind of let it go so far that when it went so far, it was hard to get it back on
Hmm.
track.
Hmm. That that is a that's a tough place to be married at a young age. At that young, I couldn't even spell marriage. It's like, how do you spell that with two C's? um, I just knew that being that young and being, I, I just couldn't. It wasn't even in my, because I didn't have no examples
Mm.
at all, and so it was just not in. I just couldn't see it. I just was like, my parents wasn't married. They kind of did their thing, and my dad was over here, my mom was over here, and just it was, you know, like you said, it was normalized dysfunction.
Yeah, yeah,
That
exactly.
that's what it was. It was the stuff that I seen was just normal, and it wasn't until I seen something different that I realized, like, yo, we was crazy dysfunctional.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Like I remember Facebook used to have where you can write notes, like you can write notes up there. And I remember, I think, being 20 years old, and I wrote this note about classes of cheaters because I dealt with infidelity in the relationship.
Hmm.
But to try to normalize it within my mind. So I wrote this note called Classes of Cheaters, and you had your high class, your middle class, your low class cheater. And like low class was somebody who just didn't give a crap about you, would do whatever. Then middle class was like in the middle, he cared a little bit, but he still. And so I made this high class as some like godlike man who, yeah, he's gonna cheat on you, but he's considerate, like trying to normalize the behavior. And when I think back to that, it's like, wow, the mindset that you were in at such a young age, that you were trying to normalize what was happening to you by saying this was okay that he was doing this as long as he's doing this. And
Mm.
it's just I look back at it like, wow, I wouldn't dare write a note like that. I wouldn't dare pass any of that type of stuff on to my daughter to my daughters. But that's where I was at the time, trying to make sense of what was happening to me with the man that said he loved me.
And all you could do at such a young age is process the information according to the information that you have available.
Mm, yeah.
So it's not, I, well, here's another question. This is just are you when you look back, was it hard to forgive yourself for for the lack of wisdom during that time?
No, it wasn't hard to forgive myself because I realized that even though I did, even though I did have a lot of sense, I knew that at the time that I was being led by my emotions. And so a lot of things were clouding my wisdom. And so I was able to forgive myself because I realized, like you was just saying, I didn't know a lot. I was just going based upon what was normal to me. And if I
Mm.
didn't know something, or I didn't have the tools, what else am I supposed to do but live out what has been put before me, unless I had made a conscious decision to do better. But at the time, I just let my emotions lead me. And so no, I didn't have a hard time forgiving myself. It was kind of easy.
Well, I said this a few times in your live, but emotions make for a bad compass.
Hmm.
That thing just be spinning all over the place. And like, where's true north at? It's east.
Hmm.
um, and so these are the building blocks of your story.
Hmm.
And as I hear you talk, hear jump in your live, read through your story, these are the building blocks. These are the foundational pieces that God used to be able to move you into what you're doing now. See, I think that not I think that everybody sees, they see Bre Mitriece, they see the books and they see the glitz, and they see the glamour, they see the followers, they see the stage, they see all that, right? And they see like, hey, she's made it. But what they don't see is, how did you land in the space that you're currently in?
So, so I divorced my ex-husband, and I was not in a good place, right? So, yes, you may leave one situation, right? I found the strength to leave there, but I had no idea of what to do, like what to do. So, next thing I know was to get with somebody else. So, I call it the most funnest, unhealthiest time of my life, because although I was having fun, it was unhealthy. It was not. It was a detriment to my well-being. I was with guys I shouldn't have been with. I was giving guys my body who, after the interaction, I felt empty. It was just really not a good place. And all because I didn't do any healing. I didn't, and because I was hurt from my marriage, I was emotionally unavailable to
Mhm.
myself and to guys. So I maintained surface relationships. I wasn't going to be vulnerable. All that is like a recipe for disaster. When your self-esteem is low, you're emotionally unavailable. It wasn't a good space. And it wasn't until like 2014, I just got tired, like tired of not feeling like I was living up to who I wanted to be. And I would say that, as I said, like, Brandon, you very intelligent, but you keep making foolish decisions. And when I had to learn like those two things, like even though you have the cognitive ability, the intelligence, you also have to be emotionally intelligent. You also have to heal. You also have to get healthy. And so in 2014, I was like, I'm tired of living this way. I'm tired of loving this way. I really want to love myself, because some of these men I gave access to me, it should have been access denied, declined. It should have never been, should never got through the door. And then I just went on this journey with spiritually first, because something, it's like you may not know everything, but at that time I just knew that I needed to go to God first. Like I just knew that. Like and so I tell people, at the time I knew nothing really about affirmations or things like I know now,
Mhm.
doing the work that I do. So I could, all I could do at that time was like cry out to God and speak the Bible over myself, like as affirmations, like I'm more than a conqueror, like I'm like those kind of things. And I would just repeat that to myself. And I was like, I want to learn how to love me the way you love me, God. I want to know
Mm.
love. I want to know what it truly means to love myself. And from that day, it started the work. And so I started like just jotting down things that have been downloaded in my spirit about how to show up for myself, standards and things like that. And it's been a journey. It's been a beautiful journey, knowing that love is spiritual, and grounding myself spiritually in God is how I'm able to really fully encompass what love truly is. And God was able to show me it's not what the world tells you love is, because the world got a wicked way of showing, this functional way of telling you what love is. But if you ground yourself in me, ground yourself spiritually, you'll really be able to encompass the true essence of love. And I know that now. Like
Mm.
I know that. So now my heart is open. I try to be more loving towards myself and to other people. And so, but it was in 2014 I had to get my life together. And so that's where it started, when I just got fed up.
At 2014. So you in your walk with, or on this path of self discovery, you encountered God. Now, when you encounter God and He started to reveal you to you, how was that process? Outside of the love piece, but just overall, when He started to peel those layers back and He started to, you know, show you the things that have became part of your identity and part of how you define yourself, and then those were the things that He was saying, I need you to let go of. What was that process like for you?
It was like somebody checking you, because sometimes it's easy, even looking back, reflecting back on the marriage, it's so easy to be like, what was his fault? Him. And God's showing me like you played a part in it as well. It's some ways about you, it's some, like I had ways about myself, it's my way or the highway, a lot of selfishness sometimes, and just like been hard sometimes, or been very demanding, certain things I had to let go. And so it's just really that mirror, that face, coming face to face with yourself in the mirror. And it's like, these are some things that I don't like about myself, that's hindering me. And so it's just a like, when you really don't want to hear it, you're like, I don't want to hear that about myself. Like I'm like perfect, but but you realize it's the truth. It's the truth. And in order for me to really be who I had to be truthful with myself. That there are some things about you, some behaviors, some habits that are hindering you. And so it's the saying like, Lord, give me a clean heart, because in order for you to really get that clean heart, you got to get rid of that, the residue and the dirtiness and the things that are not helping you become, evolve you to your highest self. And so it was tough a little bit, because I had to look at me, and nobody likes to look at them. I had to be accountable to me, but it was all rewarding at the end. At the end. Well, now that we're still
Well, he is he works miracles. he definitely works miracles. I had an interview with a young lady, Dr. Shadaria Allison, and she said something. She said, when I look at the person that I used to be and I see myself now, she was like, oh, God is powerful for real.
Hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, because
Yeah,
boy,
exactly.
because
Man.
boy, that is that statement right there. I'm like, mm 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 mm. And so as you going through this, as you're walking through this process, and it's and so your world was shattered for the most part, right? Now, did you did you go through the shattered pieces and pick up the pieces that you felt that you needed, that were some key pieces to you, or did you sweep everything away and just start from scratch after everything has shattered?
Yeah, just start from scratch. Just start from where I am, because trying to pick up those pieces when I'm somebody different. Me being so young and divorcing, that was not the plan, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When things happen that is not the plan, that takes a lot on you. You know, I would say at the time I did everything right, right by the book. I got married, I had children, my high school. I did it right. Like I did it right, and for it to end, I would have never thought when I was younger that I would be divorced at such a young age. And so that changes you. That changes how you see relationships. It changes, just a lot of things. And so I just wanted to start fresh. And then those
Mm.
few years where I was just doing whatever, funnest, unhealthiest time, all that, I couldn't even look back and pick anything out. I just wanted to start from where I was at, learning to love that girl at that moment and then continue loving her.
That is what you just said is powerful beyond measure. Because you didn't you didn't waste the time to go back, and because some stuff was meshed together, that you thought that this was something that you needed and this is something that you don't, you just said, you know what, I'm willing to let all that go to rebuild myself. And a lot of people get caught up in going through the shattered pieces.
Hmm.
When my life shattered, I went through the shattered pieces, and it's time consuming because you
Hmm.
got to turn each piece over. You got to see what that piece is, and you got to assign that piece, and then you got to put that piece off to the side, and you got to go back. So to be able to just wipe the slate clean and say, you know what, I'm gonna start from where I am. The old me's dead and gone. And now I'm about to rebuild. So that's really powerful, and I think that just that alone can help anybody, but more so women who are going through this space like that. Now, how intentional were you on getting healthy?
So at the beginning, very, very intentional. Intentional. Like I said, I started writing down notes. I had like a little journal. I was writing down notes, Bibles, reading the Bible, writing down scriptures, really feeding myself. Those guys that I was involved with, numbers deleted, not answering. Like at that time, I went on like what I call like a man fast. I wasn't entertaining no guy at the time, really just focusing on myself. I started practicing abstinence at the time because I really wanted to take my body off the table per
Mhm.
se and just really get clear on why was I participate, just really get clear on the things that I was doing. And so yeah, I was very intentional. I was like each and every day speaking the Bible with myself, reading the Bible, not entertaining any type of guys, and just really going to work and participating in some of the hobbies and hanging out with friends.
That is that this thing is a it's a beast. It is definitely becoming. who you are is becoming who God has forged us to be is definitely a challenge. So when now you've been you go through this process, you divorced, you did a self analysis, you came back with the results, you started making the proper changes, you started doing things. Then what was birthed out of you at that point?
So then after that, I did find myself in a relationship. I got into a relationship with the guy that I was involved with years before. And I was on my journey, and I was asked my intuition, like, God, show me if he's my husband or not. My intuition said no, he's not your husband. But then I proceeded anyway, turned my back on myself after all the work I had done. I had
Mm,
turned my back on myself again because I really wanted him. And but the relationship only lasted 8 months because it just I had to get out. But then that's when I really, so I was like, okay, Brownie, you've been doing this work and you let this slide. Then I even became more like, you cannot turn your back on yourself. If you ask for God to show you something, you got to trust your intuition, because when you don't, look at the results. Like the relationship, it wasn't the worst, but he wasn't what I needed, which I already knew. God had told me he want my husband. So that was already, I already knew that. I was just hoping that the story would be different, but the story was already, I already knew what it was going to be. And then from then on, I was like, stick to those standards. You gotta, so that kind of like, when you say I took a few steps and I was doing better, but I took a few steps back. But because I was on that journey, it did help me leave that relationship sooner than later. So it was
mm.
only like a couple of months we was together. So even though I found myself falling back in because of some of the things that I already had learned, helped me get out quickly. And so I just made a decision from there, like, when that intuition speaks, when God speak, that taught me, that relationship taught me, don't ever go against your intuition because it will not fare well for you. And so from that relationship, I continue again, because in that relationship with him, I was still practicing abstinence. And so I was still doing some things that I knew to do. I just stumbled. But once I got up out of that, I continue. And then for the next couple of years again, not talking to any more guys and on a man fast and practice abstinence.
Man fast. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Now, so you journeyed, you had this, and now you got tools, now you got experience, now you done built yourself back up. It was easier for you to pull yourself out the hole. And you said something really key. You said listen to your intuition. No, first you said I prayed to God and asked God, is he my husband? When I counsel people, that's the first thing I ask them. If they asked, did you go to God and asked God if this was the one? Because if you did that, and if he said yes, then it's a yes. But if he say no, you can't make his no yes.
Mm-mm.
You can't do you, and so even like my wife and I, before we got married, we prayed and fasted each other, and that was the question that we asked. Not was we supposed to be in each other's life, because that could have been a yes, because there could have been a purpose for us to be in each other's lives, but we were specific with the question, and we got the answer. So putting that on the front side of your relationships, I think is very key, very key. But then you said it's intuition. When you have that feeling, when you overrode that feeling, when you put the code in and the security clearance and the retina scan and the voice activation, because I'm pretty sure you had it sealed up, right? And then
Mhm.
you did all that stuff. And when that wall came down and you look back, can you pinpoint the time that you just was like, that moment right there is when I decided to have let my access go?
Yeah, so it was. the beginning of the year, and it was around Valentine's Day, and so he had did something nice or whatever, but it was like typical because it was the holiday. I think he was just doing something nice, but he didn't follow through. Like, because it would be times I'll be like, I'm done. Like, I'll be wanting to end it. Then he'd be like, just give me another opportunity. So Valentine's Day was his other opportunity, but then the week after, he was still doing some of the same behaviors. And so that's when I was like, it's gonna be, I'm good. Like, I'm good. It's a no. Because there was some other things too. Like, I remember, and this what hurts me, which all these things showed me in hindsight how a person who said that they love you is supposed to behave. So I remember one time he went out to get food, and he came back over to the house, and he ate his food. He didn't ask me, did I want anything? He didn't even offer his food to me. That was in that moment I realized he don't like you. And then the way he will look at me. I've learned through time, it's in the eyes. They say like the eyes are the gateway to the soul. And so even just the way he would look at me, his the way he looked at me wasn't loving. And I know some people probably like, what? It's hard to explain, y'all, but once you in that, you can tell through the way they look at you. So all those things were adding up. It just was confirmation. This is not your husband. Like, this is not, get out, girl. Go ahead and get out. And so I got out. And of course, he was trying to say, oh, I love you, or this at the end. But I was out. I got out, and I didn't feel nothing. I didn't feel anything about it. Like, I didn't have no crying sessions or anything. And I think that's because I knew deep down that
Mhm.
he wasn't my husband. I was just hoping it will change. So,
Yeah, those tactics, like the fear of loss kicks in. So the man is normally going to go towards the physical reaction,
mm,
the touch that, if I can touch and get you in a position where I'm in close quarters, then I can get your emotions activated, and then you can get back on this emotional roller coaster, and then you can make that decision based off of the emotions, and then I can go back. I'll be this new dude for about 3 days, because
mm-hmm.
it take about 3 days for your emotions to settle, and then that fourth day I'm back to what I was doing, but I'm already in too deep now, because now you didn't already let me back in, and now I done put some anchors in that thing, and it's gonna be hard to get rid of me that time. So the way you move, the way you just said, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's over." That's a really wise decision. Now, in the profession that you in, you are a beast out here in this world, helping women with self discovery and finding their true selves, and overcoming these obstacles. Do you see a lot of how you used to be in a lot of women that you talk to?
Yeah. Yeah. I see a lot of, the main thing is the lack of love. A lot of women don't feel loved. They have a warped sense of self worth. They don't feel good enough. So a lot of those things contribute to them finding themselves, turning their back on themselves, not respecting themselves, not honoring their standards, and just seeking for love in the wrong place. I realize, like, when you don't know love and you're not familiar with it, it's easy for somebody to sell it to you who
Mm,
don't. It's easy for them to sell it to you because you're not familiar with it. So you're gonna buy what they're selling. And so I see that with a lot of women. They're often buying what these men are selling, or selling that to themselves, or selling that to themselves because they desperately want to be in partnership, and because they feel that it will give them a sense of validation. And that's why I always encourage them to ground themselves spiritually in God, because once you get fulfilled spiritually, you'll be able to navigate this life a little bit differently, because you're seeking other people to share love with them. You're not
Hmm.
seeking other people so that they can give you love. You already know love. You just want to commune with them and y'all have a loving experience. And so, yeah, a lot of women, and then a lot of have to do with how we've been conditioned, how we've been programmed, how we've been taught about ourselves and what that looks like in society in relation to other people and to our relationships.
You you dropping some gems. You said sharing love instead of seeking love.
Yeah.
That is an amazing perspective because you find God's love and you're settled in God's love. So you're trying to share the experience in
Mhm.
God's love instead of going out seeking something that can't fulfill you.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's how God showed me. Even I was just explaining this to my mom where, the Bible talks about perfect love cast out all things. And when people get stuck on the word perfect, say like, well, nobody's perfect, nobody's perfect. And God showed me it's like perfect as meaning like refined, right? Refine like when we're refining ourselves. If we are refining ourselves and becoming better, that's what love does for us. So me
Mhm.
loving myself is refining those things in me that makes me better, that it casts out those fears and cast out that selfish attitude, that it casts out that all of those kind of things. That's what love does, and that's what it does when we are sharing love with other people. As we perfect love and we let love perfect us, we will allow it to cast out certain behaviors that are not fruits of God. And so that's something, so that's why it's like love is spiritual, and you will never understand it if you're trying to love people what the world teach you. Like you can't. You
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 can't
you won't. You will always, it will always be some dysfunctional, chaotic mess.
for sure.
And they putting a bow on it, calling it love. But once you ground yourself spiritually and know God, you will truly encompass love, and then let that lead the way. And so, but it is a journey because it takes that undoing of the world. Like you gotta strip yourself of the world ways and really hone in on that spiritual component. That's why you cannot love without the spirit. You cannot.
You
You
can't.
cannot.
It's impossible. It
Yeah.
says God is love.
Yep.
So you know
You
it's
cannot. So
you
you can
cannot.
try, but you cannot. It just ain't
You
gonna work.
have you like you said. You'll have some Timu love showing
Right.
up or something.
Yeah.
So for y'all who don't know, she is a coach. So if you want to, and I suggest when y'all if y'all find yourself in a situation where you're seeking self love and you have an expert available, you go to the expert.
Mhm.
I I'm not an expert surgeon and I can't operate on myself at home with a butter knife or fork, some band-aids and peroxide. I have to go to the expert who do what they do, and she is an expert in her field. And we're gonna pull her up right here. This is her website, and I want y'all to go and check out her website. She has her books on there. She has her master classes on there. She has all the things that you would need to get in contact with her. And don't these are resources, y'all. These are resources and these are opportunities for you to invest in yourself through the materials that are out here available for you. Don't be out here flapping around like a fish out of water. Go to the expert because she knows what she's doing. She's standing on stages. She's talking to women all the time. She is a resource. So go tap in to her resources, invest in yourself, buy her journals, buy her books, get in her masterclass, do those things to help yourself become a better version of who you are. And if you are in a position where you don't have an example, she then already walked through a lot of the stuff and could be your example. So don't discount what you're hearing. Don't discount any of this. And so, and y'all can also pull her up on Facebook. She is she all over the place. I'm telling y'all, she out here in this world doing big things. Pull her up on Facebook, join her group, follow her so you can have access to the content that she's posting. Hit her up on her IG page. You know, like, again, make the connection. Make the connection. She jumps on, she gets on live on TikTok. Follow her on TikTok. Become part of her community. Become part of her groups and the things that she has going on. I think that you are doing some phenomenal things. You got any events coming up that you want to tell the people about?
Soon I'll be hosting our masterclass. It's going to be called The Art of Falling in Love with Yourself. It's a workshop. It is a 1 day workshop, and we're going to be talking about, the power of authenticity, the power of self-care, the power of healthy relationships, and the power of healing your soul. And so that'll be coming up in May. So look forward. It'll be on my Facebook and on my Instagram.
Awesome. Jump into that master class. I have one more question for you. I love this question because it took me a long time to just think about this question. What is something that you didn't pay attention to when you were younger that you had to learn the hard way as you got older?
Hmm. Something I didn't pay attention to. Well, this is a different avenue, but I would say finance. I didn't pay attention when I was younger
Mm-hmm.
about finances. And so having to learn as I get older how to navigate credit and things like that. So I wish I would have had a little bit more information in my youth about finances, and then I would have made some better decisions as I came of age when it comes to how to manage money, how to spend money, how to keep money, how to invest money.
It's important. It is definitely important. And I have a young lady that if you're looking to add somebody into your circle, that I would love to connect you with because that's what she does. So the young lady that I just interviewed, she's in that space. And so if you're trying to add somebody to your circle that's an expert in what they do, I'll connect you. That's important. I don't think people really understand how important that is. Knowing how to manage money. Like if it says zero in the bank, that means there's nothing in there. You can't go buy them shoes because then you're gonna have a negative number next to that. And so finances is very important. Um, so do you have one daughter, two daughters,
Two daughters. I love them so much. Two,
and how old are they?
they're 16 and 14.
Ooh,
They are oh
ooh.
no, they are every time, when I tell people they're teenagers, I have my cousins say, you just got blessed. Something in the water. God gave me such beautiful, beautiful girls. And maybe, it's the way I have been so loving towards them, but I love them. And not just because they're my daughters, but they are really beautiful people. Their mindsets, the way they think, the things that they want for their own lives, the way they love on themselves, the way they care about themselves. It just warmed my heart. They're my little buddy. Oh my God, I love spending time with them. Like motherhood was something that I feel like was a part of my calling to just to be able to mother such beautiful souls. I love them. Oh my God, they just I love being with them. They're my little buddies. We rock. We tight. Even and it's such an innocence about them as well, being teenage girls. Like they still come and cuddle with me, lay down with me. we still watch. We watch movies and shows together. They still want to do things with me. They still we still greet and hug, and sometimes they want to just hold hands, like they just want to touch me, and they come and share a lot of their school stuff with me, the little school drama, and just a little innocence that they still have. Even though they're teenagers, they are mature in a lot of ways, but they still have that childlike innocence that's so pure and so wholesome that I'm like, oh,
Mm.
God is a restorer because their mama won't. Who he said he'll restore all things to you, and he restored it double time, double. I'm
Ah.
thankful. Thank you, God.
Well, as wonderful as you said they are, the apple don't fall too far from the tree, and you are an example, and it's easy to model something that you like.
Yeah.
I have an 18-year-old son, and he does the same thing.
Mhm.
He still we I still every once I go lay in his bed. We do all that stuff. If he was to walk in here right now, he would walk in, hug me, kiss me, then he gonna go do his thing. He don't care if he's in front of his friends or anything like that because I didn't make it weird or
Mhm.
awkward. Um, as he got older, I stayed consistent with it, so now he don't know any different.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
When you talked about it, you lit up. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
those
just
my
I could go
babies.
on and on. Those girls, I just everybody has certain, like, I feel like motherhood was a part of my calling. Like, I was called to it. It's just something, a little gift that I've always had, and I was able to really mother them. And I just can't wait to see as they continue to grow and blossom. Like, my oldest will be 17 this year, and she'll be graduating next year. Just to see the ladies that they become, the decisions that they make, the certain choices that they make for their life.
Hey, so you've been chilling with Seymour Reese Ball and Bre Mitriece. Go check her out. Go follow her on all her stuff. And you know how we do. I love you like a play cousin. And I'm out. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Peace.